Happy Thanksgiving, sports fans. Welcome to the Casual Sports Podcast. As always, I'm Alec Caberna. That's Matt Morrison in my Wolfgang. Fellas, Thanksgiving, how are you guys doing?
What's up?
What's up? Doing pretty good. I'm about to eat some turkey here. I can't wait. I'm starving.
One of the most underrated holidays by far. It's not even close.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Eat all day, you just watch football.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I can't wait for
Alec having some problems. What's going on? I heard some static. And Mike, what are you eating for Thanksgiving here today? Yeah, as he comes back, I think his mic isn't working too well.
You know, the usual.
The
usual.
Turkey.
I mean,
my dad's cutting up apples as we speak right now. He's putting it in with the stuffing. Oh, dude, it's gonna be so good. I can't wait. I gotta go help him right after the show. He's yelling my name. Matt, help me.
I mean, you know, the usual stuff. I'm a stuffing guy. I'm a mashed potato guy. And this morning I had a turkey bowl game with some buddies, so you know.
That's cool. We got homemade squash too, fresh squash from my farmers down the road here. They gave it to us. That's a plus for living in the farm area.
Oh yeah,
you know, you get fresh corn, you get fresh squash, tomatoes, whatever you want.
I'm back. Potatoes. We're good.
All right, we were just talking about squash.
Working. That was random.
We were just talking about squash.
Yeah, I heard. I love some squash. What's everybody's favorite Thanksgiving dish?
Oh, it's tough.
Green bean casserole.
I hate green bean casserole.
I was telling Matt, I don't really like it either, to be honest.
I love it. My dad's making corn casserole too.
I can go with corn casserole. I can do that.
I've never had that before, so we'll see.
I'm definitely a stuffing guy.
Oh,
definitely.
I love me some stuffing. Does your family put in all the fixins and stuff?
Oh yeah. My mom asked yesterday. She's actually starting to get ready. I was like, I can't wait.
What's Mama Caberna making here? Why don't she sneak her in here?
I'm not having Thanksgiving with Mama Caberna. I'm having it with Papa Caberna. He's making the whole meal, whole grand shebang. We got everything. We got mashed potatoes. We got gravy. We got stuffing. We got corn. We have 3 different desserts. We got the 20-pound turkey. Oh, all the fixins.
We just got a small turkey because it's just my dad had this year, so.
Well,
my dad's mixing it up this year. He's smoking it too.
The show being pre-recorded, we decided, screw it, let's go live with this. So we're coming live here on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And with some football coming up, guys, let's get into the NFL. Lions Bears today. What are you guys thinking here?
Mike?
I mean, it's definitely more interesting because there's no Justin Fields, so they're kind of
no Fields. Yeah.
Somewhat.
I like Dalton.
They're kind of somewhat on the Bears or on the Lions level because they don't have their guy. So I think it'll be a better game than people think. It's probably the worst. Maybe argue the second or the last one is, but it's probably the worst on this slate for Thanksgiving.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
I think it'd be better than what it's advertised.
Yeah, that's definitely a big possibility. And we're recording a little earlier in the day, so this game hasn't happened yet. It is pre-record, but still Thanksgiving Day for all of you guys. Yeah. Chicago Bears obviously 3-7, and there's a lot of talk. Matt Nagy has been getting his name chanted around Chicago for him to be fired, and obviously there's a lot of problems going on in total with this squad coming off a close game and back-to-back weeks against the Steelers and the Ravens. If they don't win here against the Lions on, today on Thanksgiving Day, I think it's the end of the Nagy era in Chicago. No coach has ever been fired during the season. I think if he loses to the Lions, he becomes the first.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with this. And, the Lions are a dangerous team right now because they have officially been eliminated from the playoffs. They're playing, for next season or whatever. They're going to try some new things. They're going to maybe scare some people because they have nothing to lose right now. They could play the road at
they have the first overall pick to lose, but that'll be an edge rusher most likely, and they're either going to get Thibodeau or Aiden Hutchinson most likely, a good edge rusher. So even if they slip down to 2, 3, or 4, I don't think it's a huge loss. But they still want that good high field position. Draft position.
They could just tank, yes, but it's Thanksgiving, so
yeah, you always want to get the turkey leg on Thanksgiving. That's what they're fighting for.
And you want to get one win at least. Come on now.
Yeah, they don't want to obviously. If they're gonna win one out of these next 7, this is probably the one to go with. As they got the Vikings, the Broncos, the Cardinals, the Falcons, Seahawks, and Packers to finish out the season. So if they want to avoid another 0-16 season in their history, they're going to have to win here on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and they can do it because they the last 2 games against good above average opponents, they've hung in there and had chances to win. And they've had a chance to win a lot of the games. So it's getting late, but I still think at some point they're going to break through. And I think it's a game that they can do it because, like you said, their schedule's getting tough. Why not do it on Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I mean, give their fans something to cheer about as they're sitting at home. And we see these two teams go pretty much every year playing on Thanksgiving Day. They normally get their butts kicked. Now they have a chance to kick each other's butts. And I got a feeling here this might be the Bills' only time to shine. And we're going to go ahead and make picks. I'm going to flip. I was going to flip this around and take the Lions, but I think Dalton's a pretty good quarterback, and he's not losing this one. I'm taking the Bears.
Especially if Tim Boyle was playing for the Lions. The guy is just horrible. I don't even know how he's in the NFL right now. I sent the thing in the group chat yesterday or something. One of us sent it. What was it? 26 interceptions, 13 touchdowns in college for 2 different colleges.
Right.
26 games.
I don't know how this guy got there.
How did he get where he's at? He backed up Aaron Rodgers for a couple of years, made money. How is he here right now? But how is Colin Kaepernick not playing?
That dude made a deal with Kaepernick or not, that dude made a deal with the devil, and that's the only reason he's in the NBA, NFL. That's the only explanation. He sold his soul to Roger Goodell.
Yeah,
he owes him Roger Goodell owes him like a life debt or something. That's how this guy made it.
Yeah, probably.
There's got to be something. He's a family member of somebody we don't know, and he got in because. To be that bad at football and make it to the NFL, there's something else going on. So
well, he almost beat the Browns, though.
Yeah, almost. But I take the Bears. Matt, who are you taking here?
I'm taking the Bears too.
What about you, Mike?
I picked the Lions a few times this year. It hasn't worked, obviously. I am going to pick them on Thanksgiving. Why not?
Thank you. I'm glad somebody had to take him. I think
why not?
It's not a one and done scenario. I'm just not going against Dalton here. He's got 2 of those early wins for the Bears. And without injury, I think he comes back with a vengeance with his spot on the line with, them saying Justin Fields is the guy. So it's redemption time here. So next game, Mike, how about them Cowboys? Dallas hosting Las Vegas tonight.
I mean, how about them? I mean, I told you guys before the show, and it's no secret. They suck on Thanksgiving, Cowboys. I mean, they occasionally win, but the most part, they find a way to collapse like they usually do. And against this Raiders team, I mean, the Cowboys had a bad week last week. Blew out the Falcons the week before that. They lose the Broncos. So this is a game they're expecting to come in, and they're just going to get things right. Raiders aren't that type of team. I mean, the Raiders aren't what they were coming out of the year, but they're still not a bad team. And if the Cowboys think they're going to come in and try to fix some things, they're going to have to earn this one to come in, to try to win on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and Raiders team, they're going through a lot of problems right now. I think it's finally affecting them right now. They're 5-5 right now when they had that 3-0 start. It's starting to show. They've lost 2 guys, David Arnett, and of course, Henry Ruggs, and their head coach. They're all gone. You never think that this would happen to any team. Well, it has happened to the Raiders. They are not in a good spot right now. Everybody's emotional. Derek Carr's kind of slumping in and out. He's not playing like he did at the beginning of the season. But, I mean, who can blame him? And you're thrown into Deshaun Jackson, who had a huge catch, but then he fumbled it 2 steps later. I mean, he doesn't have much to work with. Josh Jacobs hasn't been the same. Kenyon Drake has kind of been carrying the weight, and I think it's just too much right now. Their once good defense is starting to fall as well. It's kind of sad, honestly. I don't like to see this to any team. So, but Dallas, they have to take advantage of this.
Well, yeah, and to your point, this team feels like they're falling apart. They've overcome so many things this season, and it finally feels like they can't overcome anymore. They just don't necessarily have the positions to put everything through and get this win out of here. And I think that's just this game favors the Cowboys so much because they just feel like they have things going on right now. They're finding some momentum with, Pollard and Zeke, and their wide receivers are coming back. Dak is healthy finally. The defense is pulling things together. And now you've seen the Raiders these last 3 weeks just kind of get manhandled around. I mean, 23-16, they lost to the Giants. They get blown out 41-14 to the Chiefs. They get blown out 32-13 to the Bengals just a couple nights ago. That was 3 days ago. This team got absolutely shell-shocked by the Bengals. I think there's just too much going on, and these guys are going to be away from their families in Dallas. on Thanksgiving. It's a 4:30 game. They're going to miss out on the big Thanksgiving dinners at home. I think that this team's just they're going to be overwhelmed here. I don't think they stand a chance. I'm going to take the Cowboys here.
Yeah, I gotta go Dallas here too, Mike. I know you're not picking the Cowboys.
Why are you asking?
So right across.
Why are you even asking?
Is there a point that's like asking who I'm picking in this Ohio State game this weekend?
I mean, but seriously though, I think it's
that team up north, right?
Oh, no. I'd rather chop off my tongue and never speak again than pick that team to win.
That's how I feel about Ohio State. But
I got the kitchen knives right out here, so.
Well, I ain't picking.
But seriously, though, I mean, the Cowboys, I think they're going to bounce back big. I thought they were going to bounce back big against the Falcons, and they did. And, I mean, like I said, they usually have a letdown on Thanksgiving. But, I mean, is there a bigger tradition in the NFL than the Cowboys on Thanksgiving? No.
Maybe the Lions losing on Thanksgiving.
Maybe. They always seem to get the Thanksgiving games.
Yeah,
they have for, ever.
I mean, I think these are like the three teams that we normally have on Thanksgiving. You get the Lions, the Cowboys, and the Bears normally playing on this day. So they're some of the biggest rivalries for Thanksgiving.
We didn't get the Packers though. No Packers this Thanksgiving. Usually
they get the Packers.
Well, they usually rotate it with the Lions, like Packers, okay. Division teams like Packers, Bears, and Vikings.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
none bigger than the Cowboys. Just saying.
Well, I guess we're going to have to find out if they can pull it off. One more Thanksgiving Day matchup here tonight. Buffalo Bills on the road, New Orleans Saints. They seem to be falling apart, too. This has been your team this season. You've been following them right along. Defense is number one in the NFL in points allowed. Their offense, though, has been phenomenal at times, but it seems like they're falling apart.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen has to get back in that sync he found last year when they made that AFC Championship run. The season, I mean, it starts here pretty much because this is where the division is on the line here. I mean, I know this isn't a divisional game, but it's preparing for next Monday, which is a divisional game against the Patriots, who just took over that lead, and they really need to get their momentum back for that game. And this is the game to do it. And you can't take the Saints team very lightly. They know how to win games. Yes, they're 5-5. They're very scrappy, though. They fought for those 5 wins, and they don't even have Jameis Winston. And I still feel like they are a contender. And we might be seeing Taysom Hill here very soon. They have to throw him in there. Okay,
he just got a brand new big contract too, so don't forget about that.
I mean, it was fun where they brought him in for these trick plays. But now you need to concentrate on what really is his role here, okay? He needs to be that quarterback.
And Matt, this contract that he's been given, he offered, it has an upward of like $90 million here over the next few seasons, depending on the role that he plays with the team. So yeah, it's time for him to step up into this offense. And you got to keep in mind, this team is just 2 games back from Tampa Bay for first place in that division. The NFC South is highly contested, with the Buccaneers looking like, hey, they might be slipping up here too. So it's no guarantee right now that, they're going to get this spot at number 1. And a team like New Orleans has been dealing with injuries and yet winning football games, they have every chance to play, for a win on tonight.
Yeah, and Alec, like you guys touched on with the Saints. I was going to go the same way. I'm not. I guess I'll give my prediction away here. I'm going Bills, but it's with the Saints. It's like they've had no weapons all year between injuries.
And Kamara's out again tonight.
Kamara, yeah. I mean, injuries, COVID, whatever you want to call it, they still find a way to get 5-5. I mean, nothing's come easy for them this year either. So I think the Bills are going to win, but they can't, like you said, Matt, they can't take the Saints lightly.
No.
Well, I guess we'll find out if they can, take them seriously and take away this game. It's definitely one that we look at and they should be winning. And, I think for all our sakes, I'm taking the Bills too. We're going Bills across the board. And, we were fairly unanimous here on Thanksgiving Day. The only one we switch on is Bears and Lions. Mike, we'll see if you're the odd man out tonight.
Let's go.
If we all end up, coming out of Thanksgiving perfect and fat. Fat with wins and fat with turkey. Am I right?
Well, we're all going to put on a few pounds. It happens every year.
Just a few.
Dieters hate this holiday.
Oh, man. It's a hard one. I was on a diet last year going into Thanksgiving. I was just like, not happening.
Yeah,
quit
it's
off
too
that
good to
one.
pass up.
Like, I lost a lot of weight on it. I came into the holidays. I was like, I'm enjoying them. You have to enjoy the holidays. So
yeah. Yeah, every year you see the same thing on the news where the diet plans and everything. I'm like,
get that out of here.
It's the holidays. Eat.
It's what my diet plan is? One turkey leg in this hand, the other one in the other hand, and I'm going to be double fisted. I'm dunking him in the gravy, the mashed potatoes, the corn, putting it all in my mouth at the same time, and then you know what? I'm going to go in there and I'm going to eat a whole pie for dessert. That's just what's going to happen,
Guys, the whole point is Thanksgiving, being thankful for what you have. So eat what you have. Don't pass it up.
Yeah.
Eat it.
Don't pass it. You get this kind of meal like once or twice a year. Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas.
There's people that don't have this opportunity. Okay.
Right.
So eat it.
Take advantage of it. Eat it. Eat.
You can diet the other 11 months out of the year. From Thanksgiving to Christmas, you can be a fatty. It's okay. We all are.
The other 363 days of the year.
Oh, whatever.
Eat healthy, 363 days a year. Pig out on these two. You have to.
Yep.
All right. How about we go into college football? We do actually have a game on tonight. And this one, a nice one for the state of Mississippi. It's Ole Miss versus Mississippi State tonight.
Rivalry game.
Yeah. I mean, a big one, battle for Mississippi. And I'm really looking forward to this game tonight, 7:30. Mississippi State, it's a team that's been in and out of the top 25. They're 7-4. Ole Miss, the Rebels, led by the number one quarterback in this year's draft, Matt Corral. They get the big win over A&M last week, but they nearly get upset by Liberty the week before, coming off an upset by Auburn on October 30th. So they're definitely seeing the slide. They've gotten close ones in these last, 3 games. Obviously, that game, 31-17 over Vanderbilt, not pretty for Ole Miss. We could be seeing them slip up here at the end of the season. And I wouldn't count Mississippi State out, especially when they got that big quarterback, big head coach, and Mike Leach, who loves to throw the rock.
Let's throw that football. Hey, I mean, he did the same thing with, Gardner Minshew at Washington State. He can do the same here at Mississippi State. And
you saw that just last weekend when they took on Tennessee State Tigers, a fairly good coach team. His quarterback, Will Rogers, 28-34, 391 yards and 5 touchdowns. And the back quarterback came in. He went ahead and threw 102 yards on just 8 receptions as well. So, this is an air raid style offense. They're going to try and smoke you through the air. And I don't know if Ole Miss has the defense to keep up with that. I mean, the one time we really seen them go up against some good offenses in Arkansas, 52-51, and I think Arkansas is more of a mediocre offense. Louisville, they allowed 24 points in that game. Even Tulane, they allowed 21. Against Alabama, obviously, 42 points there against the best offense they've seen. I don't have much confidence right now in the Ole Miss defense to hold down Mississippi State in this Thanksgiving matchup tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough to do, but I mean, if anybody can do it, it's going to be Mike Leach and the squad.
Right.
Like you just said, I mean, Will Rogers, that's insane. He made Gardner Minshew into a star who, I mean, honestly, should have a starting job somewhere in the NFL. I think that's coming soon. But, I mean, he can make Will Rogers into that same type of guy. So even the backup quarterback. So, I mean, you never know what to expect.
And, the line of this game's too. I mean, Mississippi State's giving them 2.5 at home. So they're 2-point favorites. And that's what you see in these rivalry games, Alec. You know this. I mean, I'm sure you're going to see it in your game this weekend, all the other rivalry games. These point spreads are going to be low, low because these teams play each other tight. Even though Mississippi State, I mean, they're a little bit behind Ole Miss, but they can find ways to win. And anything happens in rivalry games, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah, and that's 100% sure. And, this game should be a big one between these two teams. I mean, rivalry game, both teams pretty much eliminated from, both teams 100% eliminated from a college football playoff. Ole Miss, they're hoping Alabama loses to Auburn in the bowl game. But even then, that's more for bragging rights because they don't have the tiebreaker win anyways. So Alabama's got the spot in the SEC West. SEC East is clinched up. It's actually one of the few divisions we actually have completely cleared up and who's going to the conference championship. We'll get into a few of those other ones here a little later on the show. But, you see Ole Miss, they're out of contention there. I think one thing that they want is potentially just a New Year's Six bowl game, but I think that's really hard for them to get here. It's just the best bowl game possible at 10-2, finish out the season with double-digit wins. It's what you want to see going into those bowl games where probably some guys will be sitting out, finish with double-digit wins right off into the sunset. But Mississippi State, 7-4, 4-3 in conference, playing with nothing to lose, hair on fire.
Yeah, and Ole Miss looking for I think their 8th 10-win season. So I mean, they have that on their mind. You talked about having trying to get a good bowl game because they're pretty much they are out of the conversation for the playoff, and obviously they still want to win this. It doesn't matter what the record is; they want to win their rivalry game. And I mean, this is the Egg Bowl. It's a big one for both these teams. It's the Mississippi rivalry, so anything could happen. But I'm going to give away my pick here. I'm going Ole Miss.
All right, good pick there, Matt. What about your pick?
I got to go Ole Miss as well here. They've been a very competitive team. Yes, they lost to Alabama by like 20-plus points, and, Auburn pulled a win off them as well. But, I mean, other than that, they've had some very good wins on the season. Big Texas A&M win. I look at the Arkansas win as a huge win too. I mean, they won by 1 point, but it was a huge turning point in their season because, I mean, that was like the week after they lost to Alabama. So they couldn't lose 2 in a row. I think it would have affected them too much to continue playing in the season, but they pulled it out, and they've had a very successful season. Yes, I do believe they'll win this game and, get 10 wins on the season. I think they are up for like a New Year's Six Bowl. They have to be.
Yeah, I mean, if Ole Miss wins it, I mean, they got a chance for one. I think even if they win it, though, Alabama, they lose the SEC championship, they'd still be the highest ranked SEC team. They'd probably get the bowl game. There's a chance they sneak into another one. But I think there's just a lot of good teams up there. So I think it's a hard filling out process right now for that New Year's Six. And it's going to come into fruition here in these final few weeks of football. But I don't have a bell this week. I left that in Youngstown. I don't have my one here in Akron.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm going to have to come up with something here because I'm taking the upset. So I got a glass. There you go. Ring my phone in it. I'm taking Mississippi State. Give me Mike Leach. Give me this air raid offense. They're taking home the egg. Give it to them.
Egg Bowl. They're taking home the egg.
Yep, give them the egg. How about we talk another rivalry here? One of the oldest rivalry in the sport, Wisconsin versus Minnesota.
Ooh.
Oh yeah,
and it's not a popular one, but it's up. It's like you said, it's up there. It's one of the older ones. It's
very important for the Big Ten West this week as well, because if Iowa wins against Nebraska, which they probably will, they're still in a tie with Wisconsin for that first place, and Wisconsin holds the tiebreaker. So Iowa hoping for the loss here for Wisconsin, but you have to keep in mind if Wisconsin goes down, it's Iowa's spot so long as they win. This is a very tight battle. Minnesota, they're 5-3. They need a lot to happen if they want to clinch the Big Ten West. They look pretty much out of the race unless, you see Purdue, Iowa, and Wisconsin all go down. I believe they would then get in there because they have the tiebreaker over Purdue. I think they might officially be completely out, I believe, because I think Iowa still has the tiebreaker win over them as I'm looking through this here. So, there's a slim chance, say Iowa gets, riddled with COVID, and they can't compete in the Big Ten championship, that they could say, hey, put Minnesota in there, the next highest seed. Potentially, you never know what you'll end up finding out of these. But, it's still that rivalry game. Throw the rest of the season out of the window. PJ Fleck, he's been a phenomenal coach there. I've loved him all season long. I love this hire out of Western team up north. And I frankly think he's probably one of the best young coaches in the entirety of the Big Ten and around the nation. I really love his coaching style, the way he enthuses these locker rooms, get them ready for big games just like this. And you come into this game tonight and you realize, hey, this is one of those moments where your coaching status gets put on the line because of who you are. What have you done? If you can't beat your rival, you can't be a head coach. And that's where it comes in for Fleck this weekend is you have to beat Wisconsin, pull the upset, make the college football world go crazy.
And Alec, that's what I like about PJ Fleck. He's energetic. He cares about his guys, and he wants them to be, all excited about a game like this, because this is why you come to schools like this for big rivalries. This is why you look at schools when, like, hey, who are we playing at the end of the year to have a chance to, play in a big game and have it mean something. So, and I feel like he wants his guys to feel that, and he's going to be telling them this weekend, hey, enjoy this, but go out and win.
Yeah, I mean, I think Wisconsin, they've been reliant. They've won some games. Yes, they're 8-3, and they've climbed back up into the rankings. But they've limited the throws of Graham Mertz, who hasn't been really the great quarterback.
Early in the season, Matt, to your point there, he was rated as the worst quarterback in the Big Ten.
Yeah. Oh, he was bad. Yeah. Really bad.
They only had him throw 18 passes in that last game, 145 yards on a touchdown. Their run team, that Allen, I think it's for
Braylon Allen had 228 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game.
Yards. That is amazing. This guy wasn't even first on the running back chart. It was, Malusi taking the snaps, and he got hurt. And they put this Allen guy in, and he's been tremendous. So they really have to rely on him. And then Minnesota's going to look at that. They're going to go back, look at the tapes, see what they can do to stop Allen. Because basically, if you stop him, I mean, you're going to force Graham Mertz to throw. The guy is known for throwing interceptions. And Minnesota can pick you off. And
Minnesota's had a strong defensive line the entire season. So one of the strengths of that defense is being able to control the trenches. It's why they've won as many games as they have. It's an important one this weekend. One of the oldest rivalries. It's a fun one every season. We see a lot of upsets coming out of this one as well. Any final thoughts before we get into predictions here?
I mean, I think that's what Wisconsin's going to have to do if they don't. They want to hold Minnesota's defense at bay, because that was their problem early in the year, Matt. Like you said. They were trying to throw it too much with Graham Mertz, and Wisconsin's never been a big throwing team. They're old-fashioned Big Ten. I mean, they like to run the ball a lot. So I think that's what's got them back to where they are right now, and I think that's going to work for them if they want to win this game.
Look at the running backs that they have brought through the system. Okay, Monty Ball. Okay, Melvin Gordon. These guys are running backs, or Wisconsin running backs. They are known for their running backs. Jonathan Taylor, another one. There's numerous running backs that have done great in the NFL that have came from Wisconsin. So they are a running school. I think they need to stick with that.
All right, let's go ahead and make picks here. Matt, why don't you start us off? Minnesota, Wisconsin. All-time record between the two, 62 wins for Wisconsin, 8 ties, and 60 wins for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. 62-60 all-time. Can Minnesota close the gap?
That's pretty even.
Yeah, it is pretty even. I think Allen is a young running back. Yes, he carries this team, and I think if they stop him, Minnesota's going to get this win. I think they will stop him enough to pick up the win. I'm going Gophers.
Taking the Golden Goes. What about you, Mike?
You stole my pick, Matt. I'm going to go Minnesota too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as I said, 62-60-8, the all-time record. Saturday at 4 p.m. Last 2 games have been taken by the Badgers. Last win for Minnesota, 2018. Before then, you had to go all the way back to 2003 and 2001. The last 25 years of this rivalry has been dominated by Paul Chryst and the Badgers of Wisconsin. This weekend, Minneapolis, Minnesota, form holds true. The Wisconsin Badgers take it. I got Wisconsin.
I just think
they punched their ticket to the Big Ten championship. They prove everyone wrong. You have that comeback from the beginning of the season, 16-10 against Penn State. Everyone's writing you off. They're on their way back. They got their eyes on glory.
I just think PJ Fleck's going to have something that – I mean, they're playing at home. He likes playing on confidence. He likes feeding off energy.
Come out of his sleeve.
He likes to play off energy. He likes to have his guys ready.
Snow.
It probably will be, yeah.
He's going to throw a snowball at Graham Mertz.
Yeah, maybe that'll be the way they win at snowball.
Good, that makes it even better.
This rivalry's just been dominated by Wisconsin recently. It's like trying to pick the team up north over Ohio State. You just look at it statistically and you go, they just don't win this game.
But it's got to give one of these years. It has to.
Wisconsin stormed back, in this last 20 years, took the lead, and to me, they're holding on to it. No chance of giving that thing up anytime soon. Paul Chryst he's just too good of a head coach in these big games. He's fantastic at it. It's where his coaching really shines through. I mean, you see it in pretty much every game not played against Ohio State. He plays great when the cards are down, and I say against Ohio State because I think you have to think last time these two teams met in the Big Ten championship, a 59-0 game that sent Ohio State to the college football playoff in 2014. Yeah. So, that's at least the one that came to mind. How about we stick with rivalries? We got Bedlam this weekend. Bedlam, Oklahoma State should be a fantastic rivalry game, and I can't wait for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. This one's going to be pretty good. I mean, another rivalry game. That's what Thanksgiving is about, and, going on into the weekend as well, the Thanksgiving weekend. So this is going to be a very big game. Like you said, it's in Bedlam, Oklahoma State going up against Oklahoma. This is definitely a statement game. Like we said yesterday, we think Oklahoma is on their way out. They're going down. They don't have, their quarterback in there. He's not. I mean, Caleb Williams they took him out or something. He got hurt.
Yeah, he got his hand stepped on. They pulled him out of the game, tried to save him.
And Spencer Rattler, if they have to go with him, he is not the guy, okay? He's going to be, like we said before, he's going to be in the transfer portal. We definitely think that. We'll see him for a different school next year. I don't know, unless he shows something here. I mean, it's a big game. Anything can happen, so we'll just have to wait and see. Mike, what do you got?
Yeah, and anything could happen too, Matt. You can't roll out them throwing them in there because you throw everything out in these rivalry games. I mean, teams do it all the time. Yeah. You want to find ways to win, especially if things aren't working. They're going to switch things up. But, I mean, yeah, Oklahoma State's a 4-point favorite. We talked about on this last time we were on the show. This is a big one. This is going to decide a lot. And I think, obviously if Oklahoma State wins this one, they're going to be in the conference championship. They win that, they're in the playoff. In my eyes, they should be at least. So I think both
considered at the very least, depending on what happens above them, too.
In reverse with Oklahoma, it's the same way with them.
This is what I just said yesterday. Crazy things can happen. We could see Oklahoma State in the playoff. We could see that.
Well, yeah, if you actually go into like Fox's Instagram page, they had their panel make their picks. 2 out of the 4 guys had Oklahoma State sitting at number 4. So it's a very real chance. And I think the one thing when you talk about rivalries, right, it's always the head-to-heads. What's the history of this rivalry? I mean, you see Ohio State team up north. It's been, up and down all these years, but it's close. We obviously just talked Minnesota, Wisconsin, 62-60 all time. This is one of those rivalries that shouldn't be considered a rivalry. Because Oklahoma has killed them, slaughtered them, murdered them, whatever you want to say. They took them out to the woodshed and left them for dead because it's 90-18 all time. The Sooners have left Bedlam in ashes. This isn't a rivalry. It's a yearly beatdown.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an in-state rivalry, but it's not like a rivalry. It is, but it's, like you said, record-wise, it's
like
pretty much
Pitt
one side.
versus Penn State.
It's more of a rivalry with me
that.
finishing the entire turkey,
Yeah.
Come on, Matt, that's a rivalry. Come on.
Are you kidding me? All right. I mean,
we already
they don't really win every time, but okay.
Who?
Pitt rarely beats Penn State. Do you
in the last 2 decades, but neither is Michigan against Ohio State, and still a good rivalry.
Yeah. Because
and they haven't played that much, so
Michigan get their butts kicked.
But like I said, they need to bring that back and make that a part of rivalry weekend because that's one of the hidden ones that.
And Mike, to your point, 53-43 all time. Penn State holds the lead there.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
There you go. Okay. I feel that's a lot more even than Bedlam. That's for sure.
Pitt used to be good too, Matt. You know that.
Yeah, back in with Dan Marino.
Well, I mean,
this has been their best year since. I bet you Pitt would beat Penn State this year.
Probably.
This would be probably.
I think
but rivalry games, you don't know.
I think they got the quarterback and pick it, but we won't know unless we get a bowl game. Yeah. Bowl game.
Maybe.
If Pitt loses ACC championship, I mean, they probably won't get New Year's 6th day. You could see it end up if the committee puts it together. I mean, they should put that together if that's what happens.
It does because you could have
Penn State has to beat Michigan State though.
Yeah, but you could have that in like a pinstripe bowl because that's ACC versus Big Ten or some of those are.
That's the matchup to put it. That's the matchup to make right there.
I would love it.
How about we make picks for Bedlam, guys? Matt, start us off once more.
I'm going with the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Are you kidding me?
How about them Cowboys, Mike?
How about them Cowboys? It's Cowboy.
I'm gonna do it, but I'm not sold on it. I mean, they're 4-point favorites at home. Obviously, they're home. They're on the same level, 10-1, but. It's like trying to pick Michigan against Ohio State. It is because you're not going to win, but you're trying to be different. But I'm going to pick Oklahoma State. Why not? Even though it's not in their favor, the history is not in their favor. But let's go.
It's the Cowboys.
Yeah, Matt's trying for you to make sure that any team picking the Cowboys, you automatically have to take. Apparently, in Matt's eyes.
Whatever. Okay, you guys can think what you want.
All right. Well, this Oklahoma State, they got the defense to rumble, and I think that's where they hold the advantage in this game. We've seen Oklahoma's defense struggle. We've seen offensive struggles. This team has a chance to beat you close, and they can beat you big. I mean, this team has everything in my eyes. This Oklahoma State Cowboy squad, yeah, they've been down. They've been out. This ain't a rivalry. It's a beatdown. They've heard the talk. They know what's coming up. It don't matter. It's a year-by-year matchup. You have to consider it. Throw the past out the way. This is a new team. I got the Cowboys here taken as well. Oklahoma State across the board pulling, what in my eyes, probably at least a semi-upset looking at the all-time records.
Oh, yeah.
Well, why don't we go ahead and stay in rivalry talk? We got the Apple Bowl coming here, Washington State.
By the way, before we get into this game, I love the names for some of these games.
Oh, it's
Egg Bowl. Yeah. I mean, Apple.
The Iron Bowl.
Iron Bowl. It's like bowls before the bowl season starts.
The Apple Bowl. What? First of all, I don't know much on this. Why do they call it the Apple Bowl?
I think it's because there's a lot of apples grown in Washington.
Probably. I don't know.
I mean, I think that's why.
Go ahead and start talking.
I mean, they'll just pull it out of their butts. There's got to be a reason.
I mean, Ohio State, that team up north, they literally just went, it's the game. It's the game. It's the game you want to watch. Which game? The game. There you go.
The Apple Bowl.
This has been a very one-sided rivalry as well. This is one of those games Washington normally beats Washington State. It's 74-32 all time, and Washington's won the last 7 over State. And, they're coming up with a chance to tie the longest win streak in the series history of 8, which they sent between 59 and 66. They've had a down season. They're 4-7. Washington, though, they're not having one that's much better. They're 6-5. They've had some close wins, though, and I think that's where you at least have to look at them is, hey, they've been close to some good teams. It was a 14-point loss against Oregon, a 2-point loss against a ranked BYU, a 3-point win over that Stanford team that did beat Oregon despite the fact they're not too great, and just a 9-point loss against Utah earlier in the season. So I think they have a lot of good losses on the season. And I think when you come into this one with 2 bad teams, I think that's at least one thing you have to look at is how have you lost games? And frankly, to me, Washington State's lost them a little better.
Yeah, it's crappy record-wise and season-wise. The way these teams have had their season is pretty crappy, but it's still a rivalry game. I'm going to keep saying that. It's still a rivalry game, and don't count it out being a good game.
Yeah,
all right, let's make picks here.
All right, it's actually called the Apple Cup.
Apple Cup.
Whatever. Cup Bowl, whatever. Still a weird name.
All right, how about Mike? You start us off this time. I've let Matt take the last few. You take the reins this time. Washington State, the Apple Cup.
I'm going to go Washington. I don't know why. I'm just doing it. This game doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't really matter
either way.
Bragging rights.
Yeah, I'm going Washington.
Probably some cold, bad weather.
You mentioned their all-time record. They've been good in it. I'll stick with them. What the heck? Why not?
Matt?
I got to go Washington State here only because they have that flag hanging up at College Game Day for how many games? How many days?
Too long.
Too long.
It's like 360 straight appearances or something. It's just
something like that. It's always
the thing is it's just carried in the truck that sets up everything. It's not,
and they just give it to somebody to hold up.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. They did a whole story on it. Like, does people travel? And we've been to every game day. No, you haven't.
Yeah, it was a manufactured story.
Pay attention. Somebody different every week.
Are we surprised by ESPN, manufacturing a story about a flag? I'm not.
No, they're good at it.
I'm taking Washington State, though, in this one. I like him, and as I said, they have better losses. They've been close against a lot of really good teams. Utah State, who has a chance to win the Mountain West Mountain Division this week, and obviously the Utah loss, Oregon loss. To me, those losses, you have to give them at least some credit, and they're on the edge of bowl eligibility and getting into a bowl game, and when that kind of stuff is on the line, you see teams just give that little bit more of a push. They're 6-5, get to 7-5, get into one of those, get a better game out of this. And you got a 3-7 team on the other side. They're defeated. They haven't had much to fight for. I got State taking the cup.
Washington State.
Yep. All right. How about we go to another rivalry? We got a lot of them. It's rivalry week here in college football. Auburn, Alabama, the Iron Bowl.
Another one.
I mean, we kind of talked about this game yesterday, though, didn't we? It's a big chance for Bo Nix to really cement his status before going potentially into the NFL draft in this next season. So I think it's a big opportunity for him to show up. And this team just comes off 3 straight losses against A&M, Mississippi State, and then South Carolina. One of the worst teams we've seen for most of the season has finally made it to bowl eligibility against now a team with the same record in the 6-5 Auburn Tigers.
Yeah, and before that, they weren't playing too bad. I mean,
right?
They lose to Georgia, but everybody's lost to Georgia. And after that, they beat Arkansas team that was 17 at the time, and Ole Miss team that was 10 at the time. And like you said, the 3 straight losses they've had have not been good losses at all. So, I mean, they only scored 3 points against Texas A&M. I mean, come on. But again, I'm going to keep saying it's a rivalry, and it's the Iron Bowl. And most of the time, Alabama comes in better than Auburn, and they find ways to win every now and then. And I just don't – again, I think possibly Bo Nix. I don't know what you're going to get out of him, but it's a rivalry game. It's probably his last time playing against Alabama. So are we going to get something out of him? I don't know.
Well, guys, you have to look at one thing, patterns. We talk about it all the time in football. They college football, for some reason, they love patterns. Nobody knows why, but it happens all the time. Go back to this rivalry, 2016, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Bama wins it. Next season, Auburn wins it. Bama wins it. Auburn wins it. Bama wins it. Home team has won in the last 5 matchups. It's in Auburn, Alabama this weekend. Just putting that out there. This is an Auburn team that has pulled the upset more times than most people can count.
Absolutely.
Especially fans from Alabama.
Yep.
Got to throw out a little bit of a dig.
I'm not making my pick first. Alec, you go first.
You know, I look at this all the time, 47-37. The all-time, record goes to Alabama. Just one tie in the history of this matchup, and it came back in 1894. They took a massive hiatus, from 1907 all the way to 1947. Then they renewed it year after. Bama came out with Harold D. Red Drew as the head coach against Earl Brown, went at 55-0. They split it a couple more times before Ralph Shug Jordan in Auburn took it for 5 years straight. Bear Bryant dominated it. Nick Saban, dominated his era. Tommy Tuberville dominated the Auburn era in the early 2000s. But it's been all Saban since. And, no more Gus Malzahn. He was the reason this team was ever close against Bama. He had Saban's number. No Gus, no win. Give me the Crimson Tide.
I'm going to go Crimson Tide here, too. I'm going to go back on the inconsistency of Bo Nix. I mean, I don't think that you're going to see the good side of Bo Nix. This Alabama defense is just too overwhelming. I think they're going to get to him and just keep pressuring him throughout the game. So I got to go Alabama here.
Date with Georgia in the SEC championship, Mike.
I really want to take Auburn, but I'm not going to do it.
Take it, Matt. Mike, your picks have been so bad recently. Just take it. I know you want it.
You know what? My picks have been terrible, so give them to me.
Take them Tigers.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen, but
I think we're all rooting for Auburn in this one, but we think Alabama's going to win it pretty much.
I don't know if I'm rooting for them. I mean, Alabama doesn't bother me, but
I'm rooting for Auburn. I picked Alabama. I want Auburn to take it, though. That's where I'm going on this one.
If they had Bo Jackson still, man, I'd be picking Auburn.
Auburn, give them to me. I'll take them. You guys are afraid. I'll do it.
How about we go into the biggest rivalry of the week and the most important game of the weekend? The Ohio State Buckeyes versus that team up north. Thoughts?
No question.
Go ahead, Alex. It's your team.
Thoughts.
Take it away.
No, he'll take too long to go.
All right, Matt, why don't you get it off? Give me a minute here. I'll take a breather.
All time, okay, well, I'm sure you have that record. All time, Ohio State has dominated this. Besides the Bo Schembechler era, it's been all Ohio State, okay?
Wrong.
Michigan, what?
Matt, you're wrong. This has been Michigan's rivalry as long as possible.
It has been?
Yeah, they hold the record all time, 58-52. Or 51, the one when vacated.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, not the past 20 years. Okay.
20 years, no, it's been Ohio State. But, I mean, you go back 90s, I mean.
90s?
John Cooper was one of the worst coaches in Ohio State history because he couldn't beat that team to the north. And, I accidentally said it a minute ago. Don't worry, I'll get punished. Don't worry about it. Bo dominated this rivalry, and you go back before him, and Woody Hayes had Bump Elliott's number, and you go back before him, it was Oosterbahn who was really dominating a big part of this. Fritz Chrysler, he was so huge in this team, and you have to look at, Fielding Hurry Up Yost, he was a huge part of this team's success. Fritz Chrysler, I mean, this team was dominant over Ohio State. Ohio State in this rivalry didn't win it until 1919 after the first game was won in 1897. There was a win streak of 9 straight games between these two teams from 1901 to 1909. If Ohio State wins it here this weekend, they will tie that all-time record.
All right,
for consecutive wins.
They're looking to tie it. All right, for the past 20 years, though, the last time they won in Ohio. I know it's in Michigan. Last time they won in Michigan, what? Wasn't
2011, 40-34.
2011,
when a bad Ohio State team was led by Luke Fickell. They lost by 6 points.
Fickell was the interim head coach. That's the last time. Now Fickell is about to lead a Group of 5 team potentially to the playoff. Okay, that's how much has changed during this time. And Ohio State explosive offense. Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Smith, Najigba, insane, and their running backs are insane too. Alec, I know you like that running back. Oh, he's insane.
Hassan Haskins, yeah. He's one of those guys that, I haven't gotten to see a lot of, because I think last time they went to go play, obviously last year it gets canceled. Michigan, cancels themselves out, and they go, oh, we're scared. We're too scared to go into this matchup here. And, said, oh, we have illnesses, but they could play perfectly fine the next week. Yeah, sure. And then year before that, Haskins was injured going into this game, so he really didn't have much of a role, and I'm not sure if he even played in that matchup in 2019. So this is a matchup I've been waiting to see if Hassan Haskins can go off. And I think Ohio State this year, their one weakness has been the rush defense, and that's the one thing that scares me going into it, because it's a rivalry game. Cade McNamara, he can have good games. We haven't seen a lot, but we know he's capable of it. Yep. So I think you at least have to be wary of what they can do. Aiden Hutchinson on defense, he's going to get pressure on C.J. Stroud. He's going to shut down the run game, and Ohio State is going to have to game plan around Hutchinson on defense. When you have to start planning around a defensive lineman, it opens up the secondary. We've seen Stroud struggle with accuracy at certain times. He went off against State. Perfect game plan. That was phenomenal. They worked with every single one of his strengths against the worst defense in the passing game in the United States. So they worked perfectly. Ryan Day, I know he's coming with the game plan. I know he's coming hot. 51-58 all time. Buckeyes are on the comeback. Last time that team to the north won in Columbus marked the end of the John Cooper era. This one might mark the end of the Harbaugh era for that team to the north with the loss in Ann Arbor. I don't think I really have to make a pick. I'm wearing an Ohio State shirt from when they beat Alabama in the national semifinal. 85 yards to the heart of